What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by Adam Carlson. How are you, sir?
Howdy. Having a little bit of tooth pain again, and that always sucks, so I might not be talking a ton, but I'm here, and I'm excited about tomorrow.
Absolutely. Adam's talking about the first preseason game. Minnesota Vikings are traveling to Seattle. They'll be traveling today, probably right now, if I had to guess. And Kyle West is really excited because he's going to break down every third-string player on this team in depth tonight. So we're really excited for his analysis.
Correct. Third string. No, we're going for like fourth and fifth string players. We are going to rank them. No, we're not. We're not.
And don't forget, next week is Kyle West's fantasy football preview show.
Correct. Because I love me some.
Just give Kyle like all the things. We're just gonna drop stuff on air what we've never told him about. Hey, did you know you're doing this next week?
Oh, okay.
Because
that's what they do to me at work every day. So why should it be? Why should it be any different here with you guys?
I was like, this feels like work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I had to get a little bit of sugar in my system. Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. This is episode 526. Killing Me Softly. N'Keal Harry signed with the Vikings. Named an episode after him.
Still don't know who that is. Still waiting for you guys to tell me.
Well, we'll tell you. He was picked up by the Patriots. He's a former first-round pick. So if you count Jalen Reagor, and you should because he's unofficially on the depth chart, the Vikings have 4 first-round wide receivers on the team.
Now, let's break this down. How many of them are actually good? Because that narrows
it
down. Yeah.
And that's iffy because we don't know if Jordan Addison is good, but he's shown
I assume
that
so. He's been getting pretty good reviews out of training camp so far.
Yeah. But, the Vikings signed N'Keal Harry. I'm bringing it up now. I'm going to go to his official thing on ESPN because I don't know much about him. I know he's around 24, 25. Yes, 25 years old, born. He'll be 26 in December. Went to Arizona State. 2019 first-round pick, 32nd pick by New England. Let's see. Let's go to his career down here.
What's interesting about him, though, too, is like I know that it's not really fair to rip on other quarterbacks a lot, but so far his career, he hasn't really had an opportunity to be a receiver that can get things done because I know that we've talked in here before about not really being believers in Mac Jones.
Yep.
No, not at all.
And, sure, that New England offense is not exactly known for its slinging the ball around. And then you got Chicago with Justin Fields, that's just a passing nightmare.
I can't wait to talk shit about Justin Fields later. Oof.
Adam, so are you saying that Kirk Cousins might elevate a player's play on the field?
It's a chance.
There's possibility. I didn't think Kirk could do that. That's always the knock against him, is that he doesn't elevate the talent around him.
Well, I'll tell you here, I'm going to filibuster while I talk, so hopefully I can get this right. But I'm looking at his profile here on Pro Football Reference. He was drafted in 2019. He spent 3 years in New England. If you look at the stats, they're very unimpressive, which leads to me to think that he was injured a lot. I'm not sure 100%, but when you only have your biggest season of receiving is 309 yards, I'm willing to bet you're probably often injured. I texted my best friend the other day about it because he's a diehard Patriots fan, and I said, hey, man, what's your thoughts on N'Keal Harry? In general, immense potential, but an utter failure with us. Did you guys sign him? Yeah, we did. He might be all right as an addition to Jefferson, but keep your expectations low. Big body, but injury-prone, not tough. That was his biggest thing. In my opinion, a massive wideout with great talent and a lot of potential, but he's never used his body to the advantage and was almost scared to catch the ball when with us. So that sounds awful.
I mean, there's not much risk in picking him up and giving him an opportunity in camp because he's competing for like what, 4th, 5th spot on this team on the depth chart.
I'm gonna say 4th at best.
Yeah,
and that's with a guy like Brandon Powell who's showing out. I don't know if I think he may beat out Jalen Reagor based on his size because the Vikings don't have a receiver like this size on the team.
I think
how camp is going right now, you got to assume like Naylor is 4th on the list. So I
Right.
think fifth is probably what everyone's fighting for right now.
Smith, right now you're currently beating Jalen Reagor out on my mock 53-man roster depth chart.
Thank you. I'm waiting on the contract. Sign me, Minnesota. And hey, that's a good point. I forget which one of you just said it, but look, we can segue that into talking about the mentality and the framework of what this new management is for this team. Low risk, high reward. Let's see if it pans out. It's a cheap deal. I have it here on Yahoo Sports. N'Keal Harry already showing off playmaking skills with the Vikings. All right, it's training camp, relax. But yeah, he did sign today, I believe. And I saw that with, I want to say it was Adam Schefter, but it was on Twitter. So he actually signed a deal. So he's going to be on the team.
Okay.
I wonder how bad the injuries are because they've signed a couple other guys. I think Jason Copeland, or what was his name? He had some cool Twitter footage at Vikings camp. But I like what the team is trying to do. Am I putting all my chips in that all of these guys are going to pan out? Absolutely not. But maybe, and this speaks to Kevin O'Connell, maybe the coaching will be that good where you can elevate. And let's say, see if you guys agree with me here. If you look at his Pro Football Reference stats, the best season he's had so far, 33 receptions, 309 yards, only 2 touchdowns. That was in 2020. If you can elevate him to a 500-yard receiver, 600 yards as your wide receiver 4, 5, hey, cool. It's worth the very little money that he signed for here with the Vikings. But I don't have big expectations. I don't know about you guys, but
I'm okay with the team taking a flyer on players like this every now and then. I just don't want it to become a habit for the Vikings. What did you say earlier, Smith? Low risk, high reward. Okay, yep. I'm okay with that. That makes sense. But at some point, there actually has to be a reward. You know what I mean? Like they have to actually pan out and play out. And we were first year GM. I gave Kwesi a pretty big pass on the trade for Jalen Reagor. We're coming into year 2. I'm gonna start to be a little more critical on some of his decision making and things like that now. And so this one, it really is a really low risk signing because you're not giving up any capital. It was a low contract. So I would hope that we can get a little bit of production out of him because it's a big time depth signing. But I don't want to see this become a trend for the Vikings to, hey, let's pick up every failed draft perspective from every other team and try to fix them on the Vikings. I don't want that to be a thing that they do every off season.
But while we're talking about this specific signing, it's interesting because the Vikings weren't really having any depth problems at wide receiver during camp. The receivers were looking quite good, and there were several that looked like they were going to compete for that final spot. And I'm not sure why signing another receiver was such a big priority or why this specific one interests the Vikings so much. I don't get it as much as, I guess I should.
Are they playing a weird game where they're hoping that we're going to sign this guy and through a couple weeks of training camp and some preseason games and maybe he'll look really good and maybe we can flip him quick for a draft pick for someone?
I think that's a long shot, but yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure, man. I think the reason that they signed him, if I'm speaking for the Vikings, and take this with a grain of salt, but they're taking a flyer on a former first-round pick, and based on his body size, I'm guessing he could be a little bit of a different kind of. Even Jefferson, he's not the tallest wide receiver. He's tall and lean and slender, but he's got a different body type, and I think. It sucks. I think him and Reagor are about the same. They don't really do much. Reagor at least can provide some special teams help. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm looking here. They don't have any of his information. This was 2 days ago on Spot Track. The Vikings also signed another receiver the other day for $750,000, Jacob Copeland.
Dude, there are currently 13 receivers on this team.
I have the depth chart pulled up. It's wild.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of receivers on a position that I know it's a pass-first league, but we're not hurting on the top end.
No, not at all. Jacob Copeland went to Maryland, originally with the Titans sometime this year because it's 2023, his first starting year for salary here. So this is it. I guess the Titans didn't like what they see, so they were like, we'll take a flyer on this kid as well. I don't know. Those are the latest wide receiver transactions for the team. And
Well, we do know Tristan Jackson got hurt, correct?
correct.
So maybe that is is this a safety net kind of signing for, hey, maybe he's going to be out for a while. We want him on the team. We're going to put him on IR. We've got some guys that can fight out for depth for a little bit while he's gone.
That's what I'm guessing. And like, I'm not. This is no shot at him, but it's not like he was going to be the make or break for this team to succeed at that position. But seeing this come in, a lot of Twitter and some of the guys I was on the spaces with Twitter, it's just a camp body is what everybody's saying, which I get. I wouldn't be surprised.
I heard you keep saying size of N'Keal Harry, so I had to go and take a look. And 6'4", 225, that is quite different from the other players that are currently on the Vikings roster. So I can see some of the appeal there.
Yeah. Maybe he provides an extra target, a taller target in the end zone or something. I don't know. Sergio, KJ is definitely still on the team. And as the depth chart showed, which you should take that with a grain of salt too, because, I mean, with the way Addison's playing, who knows who's going to be wide receiver too. But
keep in mind, the first unofficial depth chart is made by the Vikings communication staff and not the coaching staff. So
nice. I did not know that.
I will show it to you now. I will bring it up if you guys want, but
yeah, go for it.
For Sergio and everyone else, we'll bring it up over here. I don't want to invite guests. I want to share the screen.
So yeah, when you're saying take it with a grain of salt, really take it with a grain of salt, because that's why most of these depth charts always have the players coming over from last year at the position being in that spot.
So here you go. Wide receivers, the starters listed right now. Grain of salt, like we said. Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne. And then we can go down the list of all of these names. Jesus. Jalen Naylor, Jordan Addison, Jalen Reagor, Brandon Powell, Blake Prohl. Damn, Blake Prohl's still on the team?
Mm-hmm. He's around.
He's a talented kid, man. If you guys want to look up Blake Prohl over Instagram, he's a talented singer.
How about Lucky Jackson?
Lucky Jackson, what a great name. N'Keal Harry, Garrett Mang, Jacob Copeland. I've never heard of Thayer Thomas in my entire life. Never.
You said you were going to read that article that I put him in. You jerk.
Garrett Meg. Kind of like you guys in Minnesota say big. Garrett Meg. I don't know. But here's your wide receivers. Run this down really fast.
That's a lot of receivers like we talked about. And if you were to just forget position specifics here for a minute, the top 3 players that are going to get targets in the pass game this year, Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson are your top 1 and 2. That's going to be, and then KJ Osborne at 3. You got to expect your running backs are going to be involved in the screen game. They've invested heavy in pass catching options right now.
It's exciting.
It's especially weird looking at things from the eyes of a Vikings fan that had to sit through, the Mike Zimmer ground and pound and play defense. This is a completely different franchise, and it just feels, I don't know if refreshing is the right word, but it's definitely different.
I'm hearing a lot of cool stuff, and we'll break down pretty much our camp talk, and we'll start at that because we're kind of already there. Hearing a lot of good things for Josh SKOL, Chris Reed. If you're in the what do they say? If you're in the tub, you're something else. Like if you're hurt, you're not getting good reps because you're not.
Can't make the club in the tub.
Can't make the club in the tub. That's it. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Josh SKOL, just from Twitter and watching all these other Viking shows. And sorry, guys, I'm ripping off your content, but I can't be there, so you can tell me. Daniil Hunter, Marcus Davenport. I still hate calling them outside linebackers. I hate it so much. I hate calling your big boys defensive ends, but we've seen weirder things work in the NFL. Hearing good things about Tonga, which is awesome. This guy right here, I don't know what they really like. My bad, Ross Blacklock. They really like this guy, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. Dean Lowry, Harrison Phillips. Certainly like that Dean Lowry is on the team. Hearing great things about Pat Jones. Really excited for him to fill in for whomever he has to back up.
Are you excited about Luigi Villain?
Yes.
You betcha. Best name
Yes.
on the team.
100%. Well, I don't know. Lucky Jackson's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, those guys are 1 and 2 tied for best,
Good names, man. I love
best
it.
name.
I'll take this off the screen soon. I know this isn't the best visual. If you guys are listening later on, we're going over on SI.com. We're going over the unofficial depth chart. Nose tackle, we have Tonga. The biggest thing that I love talking about, and I've been hearing this with literally everyone, is Ivan Pace has ran away with Mr. Mankato this year, an undrafted linebacker, getting reps with the ones all the time.
Yeah, every day in practice, he's running with the ones now. And it's like, is this just, are
What
they
a
farting
gangster.
around? Or is he actually going to be a big factor on this defense this year?
I don't know if
Here's
he's
one thing I don't understand
start.
is why are they designating middle linebacker and will linebacker at the middle linebacker position?
It's a good point. I don't know how many linebackers they're going to keep either, but I know Asamoah, Jordan Hicks, Ivan Pace are making the team. I would venture to see if they're only keeping 4. I think they'll probably keep 5. Troy Dye and Troy Reader have been in the mix for the 2s and getting some reps with the 1s too. So those are your linebackers right there. And I'll give Luke Braun credit always because I watch his show a lot. And when you put out like daily Vikings content, like I have a lot of respect for that because I could never do it, and it's just a lot. But he's been at camp, and the thing I listened to today while I'm like breaking down my house and getting ready to pack was he said, I came into this season worried about the linebacking core. He's like, that's my least worry now. It went from my number one worry to we're going to be all right. Loves everything he's seen about the linebackers. And I had that in the top 3, like question marks of what the hell? What are we going to do here? We have a bunch of names that we don't really feel good about or know anything about. But Ivan Pace being as good as he has, I'm pumped on that. They say Asamoah looks good. Jordan Hicks is your vet. I'm fine with him staying and being there. So I'm excited that the linebackers don't look like garbage.
Yeah, the Vikings defense this year is what was and probably still is a question mark to a lot of fans because they can't be as bad as they were last year and expect this team to have any sort of success. It's just not really something that makes a lot of sense for the Vikings. I mean, then they come out and in the draft, they seem to focus quite a bit on the offense, and the big money that they have to spend coming up is also on the offense with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson. So do the Vikings have to wait until next year's draft to take a look at some defensive players? Or is quarterback going to be the top priority that year and defense kind of gets pushed back a little bit more even?
Adam, I'm going to piggyback off of this conversation as hard as I can here. Justin Jefferson's going to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
This coming, like, within the next 8 months, somewhere in there, 9 months, he's going to get paid. He's going to make like $32 million a year. Next year is got to be the time you go after the star young quarterback. That makes me very optimistic that that's what the Vikings are going to do. But that also leaves me scared because there are still many positions that need upgrades. And then who knows who's going to be out next year? Harrison Smith going to stay? We've all said we doubt it. Danielle Hunter's on a 1 year.
Smith is going to retire.
Yeah, I think so. Or if somebody will pay him, he'll keep playing and go somewhere else. I hope that he retires a Viking and only a Viking. But, Smith will be gone. I don't know if Danielle Hunter's going to stay. Davenport's on a 1 year. You got to pay TJ Hawkinson. And then Garrett Bradbury, are we going to try to upgrade over him, or is he just going to stay here forever? I don't know. They have many, many things they have to do. And with the quarterback thing looming and paying Justin Jefferson, I really, really, really think they're going to have to go after, and you're going to have to give up picks, man. You don't have to do what the Rams do and give away all of your assets, but they need to do this, and I'm going to pound the table until it happens. They need to go after a top 2 quarterback, get up there. It doesn't matter what it's going to cost. Take a swing because that's what they're going to be tied to. And thus far, let's be honest, guys, we're not going to write off anyone until 3 years after. So technically the 4th year, so it's 2022 is when they started. So 2025, when we start that draft, we can say, okay, the 2022 draft class was a bust. This player was a bust. But so far, it's pretty lackluster. It's kind of underwhelming for me. And I don't know, man.
That first, so the first draft class that we had, the Vikings had, I'm willing to give them a bit of a pass on that one, only because they came in so late into the process. They only had, 2-3 months after the new head coach and general manager were hired to all get on the same page. And that's a really short time to completely correct a draft board, because you know that scouts spend 3-4 years looking at players and developing draft profiles and whatnot. And you were looking at the way that Spielman, like the characteristics that he was looking for, are completely different from what the new team was looking for. And so that first year, I am willing to say, okay, they had to scramble and do that. Now, with last year's draft class, the one that we just had, felt more like these are what we can expect from the team moving forward.
I hope so, man, because I'm not. It's hard to be very mean about it, but when players get injured, which that's going to happen, it's a physical sport. It sucks because that's always what's going to loom. Andrew Booth seems to be very fragile, and I hate that for him because I want to see him come to form. He was very physical in college. Lewis Seen, I don't think he's going to start this year. I really don't, and I want to see him play. But so
He's
far
made
as
some fuss, he plays in camp, so people are talking.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. And what I tried to talk myself into the other day, I was on a space with my friend Mike Castellano. You guys can check his Twitter and his YouTube out. He does a space every week or so about the Vikings, and I said, the way that I cope with the Lewis Seen stuff now is saying he's not a part of last year's draft class. He's a part of this year's, and he's a brand new rookie because getting hurt that early in the season and just not being able to do anything, kind of have to reset and start the next year. Now, granted, he did his rehab. He's been working out, and he's been in the area and obviously putting in the work and stuff. But with Harry coming back and him not being able to slide in, I wish that I saw more like an impact player. But, I mean, that's just
well, the nice thing now is that Seen has all of this season to kind of find his role, find where he fits, and really have an opportunity to become a Viking. I don't have to throw him in and see what's happening. So this could actually be a really great opportunity for him to find his place as a Viking.
I agree. And then he'll slide in. Harrison Smith probably retires. He slides into the starting role, and that's a nice transition, I think, to have at that. For me, on this defense, like you were talking about, Smith, I'm still looking at that corner position and going, the Vikings are going to need to continue to look for and invest in that true number one shutdown, lockdown corner. That guy that you can count on to go out there, and we're going to stick him on the team's best player, like what we had with Xavier Rhodes there for a while. And like, you're going to go out there and you're going to take care of that guy for the Vikings. And it's going to be another high draft pick. Now, like you said, the question then becomes, what are you doing at the quarterback position? And, do you have to be aggressive? Because you can't have both in the same draft class. You either want your future franchise quarterback or you want your shutdown corner. What are we going up and what are we grabbing next year? And what are we giving up to do it?
We're going to grab the next sauce.
I hope not.
I love that.
I hope not. We need a quarterback. Kirk's not getting younger, and I don't want to see them fall to the middle and get a Will Levis, get a Christian Ponder, get a Malik Jackson.
Next sauce in the 5th round. Woo!
Oh. Hey, I'll say the bold statement of the week here, Kyle. Who's the best wide receiver in the NFL?
Well, I'm biased. It's Justin Jefferson.
No, you're not biased. It is Justin Jefferson. And anybody who argues that, I'd laugh at him. I'd be like,
what? I'd accept an argument of Devontae Adams. I'd still accept that.
That is exactly what I was trying to get to. I can hear an argument for Devontae, but I'm going to stick with Justin Jefferson. Dude,
everybody's saying CeeDee Lamb, I just kind of go,
no. Fuck off. Whoever said that. No. My point for this thing is we have our cornerback number one. If you watch the highlights of Byron Murphy all over Justin Jefferson, he is good. And most
I
of the
hope so.
time when he gets got, it's because Justin Jefferson's an alien. That's
Yeah.
it. You can't do
Yeah.
anything about it. The coverage is wonderful. So I'm willing to bet against every receiver or every team not having a receiver that is equal to Justin Jefferson. I am totally buying all of the Byron Murphy stock. He just has to stay healthy. He's had a little injury history before, but
I was watching Hard Knocks right before we recorded this one, and there was one of the defensive coaches was breaking down film, and they were like, "You guys were in the perfect position. You did everything 100% right. This was an Aaron Rodgers throw." They're like, "This is a future Hall of Fame quarterback who made this throw, so don't
I'm
feel too
excited to
bad."
watch it.
That's the same thing with Justin Jefferson. Like you said, it's like when our guys are trying to cover him in practice, it's like you can do everything 100% correct and have fantastic coverage. But at the end of the day, he's Justin Jefferson. He's probably going to go over top of you and make a play if he wants to.
Yeah, I have loved
Yeah.
checking out some of the video from camp of Justin Jefferson running those clear, just so crisp routes. And then Jordan Addison following with a crisp route. And then there comes KJ Osborne, and it's crisp. I mean, you're looking at these and you're like, this is going to be good.
Sergio,
there was
I'm
that
sorry.
video.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say real quick, there was that video that we were talking about in the chat where you could see all the receivers lined up and they were running that drill where they had to do the stutter step and then like duck underneath that. I don't know what that square thing was. And it's interesting to see how good Justin Jefferson is compared to the guys that aren't going to make the team, on how crisp and clean like his cuts were and how fluid his motions look.
Some people are just naturally talented, man. And that's exactly what you described it well. You watch him go and you're like, I don't know much about football, but I know when I watch him do that, it looks different than everyone else, and it looks easy. So
he's an incredibly hard worker too. It's natural talent. It's talent, and it's a lot of hard work.
We're gonna pay him. I hope he stays here for 10 years, man. I love the kid so much. Sergio asked, and I'm sorry I didn't get to this sooner, my man. What have they said about Jordan Addison? Great things. Aside from his little hiccup from being an idiot, I think he learned that. Moving along from that, in camp,
fall guy.
Yeah, fucking Chris Carter. Yeah, he's been as advertised. He's not very big. He's definitely not your N'Keal Harry size. But man, the kid is so quick and shifty, and I don't want to compare the two of them because I think they have different body types and their game's a little different. But do you remember the spice that happened when we got Percy Harvin?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get out of this kid. I think he's going to be great. And what's wonderful is you don't have to ask him to be like, hey, I need you to be Thielen and be number 2, but I need you to be better than he was the last 2 years right now. KJ's there. Mm-hmm. And like Adam mentioned it, KJ looks fine. He looks – every year since he's been on this team, he's gotten progressively better. People, let me give KJ Osborne some love. Let me go on.
Whatever the team asks KJ Osborne to do, he does it.
He does it, and he doesn't bitch. He's such a team guy, and I love that he wears 17 because he reminds me so much of what Jarius Wright did 10 years ago for the team. I love this kid so much, and we don't give him enough credit, man. I can think of like 2 bad plays last year. That's it. I was in Carolina 2 years ago when he won the walk-off, took his helmet off in an homage to Stephon Diggs. It's just like stomping the ground out. And I was losing my voice. I was like, holy shit. KJ, I can't believe he was the one, you know? He had a couple of great routes against Detroit last year. I remember him catching a touchdown in the Colts game and that largest comeback ever. This receiving core is awesome. Assuming all these guys stay healthy, I can't think of a better 3-headed monster, and that's not including T.J. Hawkinson.
So here's a question for you guys. What is a successful season for Jordan Addison in terms of yardage? Like, what is a realistic sort of just like number that you think that, hey, if he has X amount of yards, he has done his job and it was a good draft pick for the Vikings?
700.
I don't know if that's something that can really be answered right now until we know if he is going to be starting opposite Justin Jefferson or if he's going to be out there as a 3 or a situational or slot or how this is all going to work. I mean, until we know what his snap count kind of is going to be around, it's hard to know what his production will be. But all you really want is that guy that can make the most of any opportunity when he's out there. And from what I've been reading about everything, Addison's been going one-on-one with Mekhi Blackman out there on on the field, and the two have such familiar ways of going at each other because they've practiced together for years now. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what both of those guys are able to do during the first preseason game coming up.
I think if he gets around 500 yards is a realistic sort of expectation for him. But mostly you want to see him contribute in a number of factors. I think you're going to want to see him on special teams. You're going to want to see him have a nice chunk of like all-purpose yardage where like, hey, he got this on an end around. We lined him up and we lined him up as a running back, special teams, receiving, like all these different ways that he can contribute. Like you said, kind of like a Percy Harvin light, I think is a good sort of expectation for Addison in this year, because we don't need him to be wide receiver number 1 or even number 2 on this team.
Well, he's not going to be option 1 or 2, and I think he understands that. Addison or Osborne, or neither of those are going to be option number 2 in this offense. That's TJ Hawkinson, and we all know that.
Yeah.
Sergio, you make a good point, but here's my addition to what Adam and Kyle said. Justin Jefferson, as much as I want him to be the first guy to get 2,000 yards, this is not the roster for him to do that. Especially adding a guy like Addison in. Here's the thing, and I'm talking about Jordan Addison, but I have to start with Jefferson. You are stupid to leave Justin Jefferson one-on-one. You're stupid to do that. I don't think that that's going to happen much all season.
He's going to get like triple covered.
He's going to demand 2 people on the defense to be around him most of the time.
Yeah.
What that does to kind of go to your question, Kyle, and like why Adam said, hey, I can't answer it. I get it. I don't know what his role is. I can tell you having Justin Jefferson on the team is going to give these guys, TJ, KJ, and Jordan Addison, more opportunities for one-on-ones. And I love that. I love that because especially when you get like a speedy kid like Jordan Addison on a linebacker, sign me up for that all day. Sign me up for it. I don't know how it's going to work, and that's Kevin O'Connell's bread and butter to get these guys in good positions and in space and stuff. But I can tell you with Justin Jefferson being on the team, he is going to command at least 2 people. And if they don't want to do that, whatever defensive coordinator says, well, we're going to play it pretty evenly, or we're just going to play zone all day. Good fucking luck with that. I wish you well in all your troubles. That's not the smart thing to do. So, Addison, Osborne, Hawkinson, they're going to have great seasons. To put a number on it, it's tough. Like Adam said, I guess I would keep it under the 1,000-yard mark. I would love that, but that also means that JJ's got to get his. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think JJ's going to have a season like he had last year because Jordan Addison is going to help the team as much. You got to spread the wealth around.
We're going to find out how good of a coordinator Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips are, because they're going to have to scheme the fuck out of Justin Jefferson to get him in situations where he is on like single coverage or is able to break coverage to get the ball. Because like you said, there's no, with getting rid of Dalvin Cook to a point that you've made before, Adam, you don't have that proven run game. So you're just telling defenses right now, key in on Jefferson and stop Jefferson until the Vikings can show you that, hey, we can run the ball, or we have these other pieces that are able to step up and make plays. That's how they're going to approach this. Other teams are going to approach the Vikings this year.
Yeah, I think so. But hey, I give Kevin O'Connell credit. First year in, and he schemed the shit out of it last year for Jefferson to get 1,800 yards and over 100 catches. So I'll let you do your magic, man. As the young kids say, let him cook. Let's see what happens, man. I'm excited.
I would like to see Addison end up with maybe 5 touchdowns would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's a fair number.
I feel like, and I don't know, maybe I'm factoring in how they're going to use him wrong, but special teams, I just think he's going to carve out a nice name for himself on special teams. Am I wrong in that, or what do you guys think?
I don't know if they're going to have any of the top 3 receivers on the team playing special teams. So I would be kind of surprised if that's the role for their first rounder at this moment. But
I don't want him there because I don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
kind of
true.
skeptical on that.
I just think he'd be a better option than like Jalen Reagor back there.
You can see what all these other guys have to offer. That's the one about making a spot on the team. If you're going to be wide receiver number 6, you better be damn good at special teams. So,
well,
Addison
like they're
is-
going to have all these running backs that are going to be on a committee. I mean, they'll find a spot for them on special teams.
Right.
It's a good point, Adam.
And Addison is on the smaller side, so you do worry about him, especially at the pro level, like getting absolutely blasted across the middle or on special teams or whatever. So that could be a bit of a concern.
Sergio says, what I want to see from Justin Jefferson this year is to be able to handle a physical corner. That was his weakness last year. Yeah, I would agree with that. But some of it, the offense was very dead as well. And I get that the matchup itself wasn't fun. When the whole offense scores 3 points at home against Dallas, I'm not going to hold anything to one specific player.
I just don't want Jefferson to struggle against the Eagles and the Packers, because those are the teams that'll just rub it in Vikings fans' faces any chance they get. We still hear about those.
I'm going to tell you right now, if we beat the Philadelphia Eagles and or the Kansas City Chiefs, don't talk to me for 48 hours afterwards, because I'm going to talk so much shit to all their fans and be like, oh, what happened, Mr. I should have won the Super Bowl, but I fumbled and cost my team the game, or I thought Patrick Mahomes was the GOAT. Like, of course, I think we're going to lose both. They're superior teams to us.
People are selective on that too, on like which games they choose to talk shit about, because there was, Randy Moss went against Darrelle Revis, and there was one game where Darrelle Revis absolutely handled Randy Moss. There was another game where Moss burned him for a touchdown. So like it goes both. Which one do you want to talk about? And both of them were future Hall of Famers. Jefferson is going to have a game where he's going to get shut down. He's going to have another game where he's just going to go off. That's the league. It happens.
That's to your point, Kyle. How many times does he go off versus times where he gets shut down?
And
when it's 9-1, I'll take that guy.
Yeah, right.
That's why it's fun. Like, people talking their junk online. It's fine. I don't. You can say what you want about him, but when the league votes him in at number 2 of this, right behind Patrick Mahomes, there's nothing else to say. He's above Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts and guys like that. Like, the top 10 was full of the elite and all of the peers.
The reason I don't even entertain when people talk shit about Justin Jefferson, because there are 31 other fan bases in the NFL. All 31 of them would take Justin Jefferson on their team right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not going to listen to any shit talk about him, because it's ridiculous. Like when people want to shit talk Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, you would fucking buy his jersey day one if he came on your team. Yeah.
So that's right. I have to say, because I wanted to bring up Jefferson being in the NFL top 100, voted number 2 overall by all of his peers, which is cool. I'm happy for the kid. I know you can see, but he carries himself well. He loves to get the recognition, and I think he wants the respect and the recognition, but he's not overly aggressive about it, which I really appreciate. I will say this, though. I think that's very worthy of the spot. Maybe you could put a quarterback there. If you think that he's better, I would totally hear that argument. Like Adam said earlier, people want to be like, I still think Devontae Adams has the edge over Justin Jefferson. I'll listen to that. That's about the only other person I would listen to, the player that might be better than him. But I will say, and this, all you NFL guys, come at me, please. If you guys vote Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence, though, I got to talk to you and say, some of you don't know what in the fuck you're talking about. And it really irritates me that Sunshine comes in the league, goes to a dumpster organization, has just a buffoon of a head coach for the first year.
Possibly one of the worst head coaching hires of all time in the NFL.
I think it's the worst.
There's some bad
ones. He's a clown show. He's a clown show. And what I hate is that takes a step back. Like, your first 3 years as a quarterback are the most pivotal. There's no doubt about it. Make your career. He gets a Super Bowl head coach, a very friendly offensive guy, Doug Peterson. I'm happy for the Jaguars, legitimately. We used to, back in a couple years ago, we used to poo-poo on the Jags because they used to talk a lot of shit about this fan base. I'm happy for them to have Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be great. But when you vote Justin Fields ahead of him, I got some questions for you. And I hate to make this off-color joke here, but I got to call the doc and see if there might be some CTE going on up there because I don't see shit about it. And I'm going on a rant here now, but I've seen it on Twitter the last 3 days. I'm not calling it X, guys. I'm just never going to call it that. Justin Fields is going to be top 5 this year. Bookmark it. I'm like, he's not going to be top 15 in anything.
He'll be top 5 fantasy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure.
I got the list. I got the list pulled up here real quick. Let's go through it. So this is the from the NFL, the top 100 players. These were voted on by by the players in the NFL. So here are your top 10 quarterbacks. Number 10 was Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins at number 6. That's bold to put Kirk above Aaron Rodgers. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes. What do you guys think of Kirk coming in at number 6, as voted by his peers?
Well, based on his play last year, he had several really great comeback games that helped the Vikings actually get to that really great record. So I can get the love for him last season and why it would result in him moving up. But apparently, according to the Twitter post that I put up, if he were a professional wrestler, Kirk Cousins' finishing move, the most common answer I got is that it would be called the check down.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, I have to be totally honest here. I went on some Vikings YouTube pages last night, and I used that there just to see what people's answers were. The check down is the most popular, and it's hilarious that between people that you and I maybe don't know or do know, that would be everybody's. I called it the Jesus Jammer just because we know Kirk's a Bible thumper. There's some good ones out there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with what Adam said. I'm gonna sprinkle in like him having a little bit of swag last year and having fun and not being that dorky robot dad all the time. Doing the chains and then doing his stupid dance on the plane. Like, I loved every second of that. Obviously, when my team is winning, I'm happy, but I like seeing him have fun and let loose because it shows like a little more. I feel like there's a little confidence in that. When you get to be goofy in front of people and know it's going to be on social media, you don't care. There's a little confidence there. And that's what that's my only knock on Kirk, really, is I think he overthinks stuff. And I think he's a little in his own head too early and too often. And seeing him let loose and just kick it with the dudes, I'm like, oh, Kirk's one of the guys. That's cool. He might be your typical like Christian on the team, and that's totally fine. But
I don't know if Kirk has found that balance point. You get super conservative Kirk, and then you get, I'm going to hurl the ball into double coverage Kirk.
That like first 2 years with the Vikings, Kirk. Yeah. Everybody was just like, chuck it up to Adam Thielen or Diggs. And it's always against the Packers. There's always 2 corners in the area. And I'm like, fuck, this is going to be a turnover. Oh, man. Yeah, I agree with you, though, Adam. I think with what happened last year, I think a lot of the people who just do that lazy take of just being like, Kirk's not clutch or whatever, they're like, oh, shit, the Vikings are 8-1? All right, Kirk, go off. Like, I think the national narrative kind of gave him a little bit of breathing room. I don't think it's fully gone. And certainly if they have a bad year this year, they're going to go right back to it. But, I mean, they won 13 games. You can't really talk too much shit about that. It's pretty good. And that's the other thing. Anytime anybody wants to say anything about Justin Jefferson, it's like, who's been throwing to him the last 3 years? I don't know that anybody else outside of maybe like Detroit-style Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen in Buffalo would just force the ball over and over and over again, would have gotten him more yards in the last 3 years. Like, they've been very, very generous to get Justin the ball, and he's the one throwing to him. So I'm defending Kirk Cousins yet again on this podcast. I hate myself so much.
Well, and you know what? That Netflix show really did change a lot of the narrative. A lot of people's viewpoints from him, at least on social media, where you're seeing a lot more people going, you know what? I kind of like Kirk. I kind of like him now. So that's nice to see.
For sure. I want to get to the dumbest take of 2023 because Adam Carlson, our own Adam Carlson, shared this. And listen, we've used the term on this show over the last 10, 12 years, however long the show's been going on, clickbait. We've said clickbait a couple of times. a lot of people do it now in the form of like the talk show thing to get viral clips on Twitter, social media, whatever. This was off of TikTok. Now it's made its way to Fan Nation over on Sports Illustrated. But I love this. 4 hours ago, shout out to Jonathan Harrison who wrote this article because it needs to be said. Dumbest take of 2023. CBS Sports host says that Justin Jefferson is a system guy. And here's the quote. I quote, I love Justin Jefferson, but he's definitely a product of Kirk Cousins in that offense. I'm going to stop before I say anything super mean that could get me canceled or fired later. This is super lazy, and this is obviously like a WWE take. This guy really, truthfully, in his heart, doesn't believe that when he says that. Nobody believes that.
There's no way.
It's not truthful at all. And here's what I'll say to you, guy with the dumbest take ever. On Tuesday's show of Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio, co-host Andrew Perloff, that's who I'm talking to. Andrew, you're fucking lazy, dude. You're lazy as shit. You did this to get clicks. Stop being dumb and do some actual work. We host a show, and I sit in a chair in shorts and a Vikings hoodie, and we put a little effort into our job. You're on CBS, my guy. Stop doing stuff for clicks. You're lazy. Be better than that, Andrew.
But it works because it gets us talking. We're sitting here talking about it.
I had never heard of that show before that clip.
Yeah. That's what they need. That's what they're hoping for.
That's what you do when you're in desperation mode. And yeah. I'm going to see if it'll play, though, because it's here from X. So I'm going to go here and share it. I just want you guys to hear this because when Adam sent this to me, I was like, what? He didn't really say that.
I love Justin Jefferson, but he's definitely a product of Kirk Cousins in that offense. Kirk Cousins just numbers for wide receivers because he's got that Eli thing where he throws the ball with tons of loft and it's 1,000,000 yards.
You think that Justin Jefferson is a product of Kirk Cousins?
But yeah, in that offense, big time.
Oh,
Kirk Cousins.
That's a hot take.
I would not agree with that.
Look at the numbers that Cousins' receivers always have. They always do really well.
I
think
Justin Jefferson is one of those guys where he could be playing with whoever and he's going to look good.
I think he's awesome, but I do think he's a bit of a system guy. So number 2 overall on this list makes no sense to me.
That is. They sat down beforehand and were like, okay, I'm going to be pro Justin Jefferson and you're going to be anti Justin Jefferson and we're going to go at it like it's ESPN First Take. There's no way they did not WWE script that shit.
I'm not going to do the Stephen A. Smith thing where I flip out like a WWE character.
She actually did seem a little genuinely surprised. If she was acting, she did well.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not going to do that thing where I flip out. Like, I'm not going to give you that energy, Andrew. I'm just going to tell you, we know you're lying, and you're being lazy by doing that. Get a take that actually provokes thought, because what you're doing now is you're TikToking your sports radio show, and you're making it dumber. You sound dumb saying that, and now you're making all of us dumber, and we're not focusing on like innovative sports talk here. You're just like, well, the numbers kind of suck, and this show is in the shitter. We should probably say something crazy so people talk about us.
Was he saying that Kirk Cousins throws a football like Eli Manning?
Yeah, he said he has that Eli thing to him where he always makes his receivers look good. And I'm like, outside of Victor Cruz, I know I can name Mario Manningham because of one catch of his career. I can't tell you who Eli Manning threw to for 12 years. I don't know. I only know Victor Cruz.
Odell Beckham, but
I forgot all about Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard, I guess. Maybe for a year or two.
And I don't remember Plaxico Burress for his on the field things. So,
of all the weird ways to knock Kirk,
but when you're at the top of the list, I mean, who are you going to make fun of towards the top of the list? You're not going to make fun of Patrick Mahomes. What are you going to say about him? I mean, the ketchup on steak is probably the worst thing you can rip on him about.
I mean, his relatives, but that's played out.
Yeah.
Well, I think he had a serious conversation with him about a year and a half ago. It was like, you are going to stop. It's going to ruin it. You're going to ruin our brand here. And your
I am going to give you half of my paycheck to just not.
Yeah, it's a good list, man. I don't have it in front of me, but I do remember the top 3, Mahomes, Jefferson, and Hurts. And I think Jalen Hurts has taken a big step. I don't think he could have landed in a better spot that was built for him. And, dude, they were talking about that today. I forget what show it was on. But in college, he gets written off. Bama moves on from him. He goes Oklahoma, balls out. gets to the Eagles, like, they took him in the second round. He's not going to start. Just keeps getting better. Like, that kid's definitely mature, first of all. Like, for his age, I think he turned 25 today or yesterday.
The Eagles should have kept Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
But yeah, the NFL Top 100, it was very offense heavy. And I would have liked to see a few
I know what you're laughing at.
Premier defensive players on that list a little higher, but I mean, you can't really do too much about it.
Well, there's more than 100 great players. It sucks. Like, I know the Giants tackle is very good. He didn't make the list, and I'm like, I guess you just leave, like, you don't give the big boys any love. Good luck with that. And most of the time, like, they would pick like a Quentin Nelson, and like maybe he had just an okay year, but they know the name recognition, so they just throw him on there.
I'd say maybe three of the Detroit Lions offensive linemen probably deserve to be on there. That Detroit Lions offensive line is good.
Yeah. You know what I hate too? I've heard a lot too. I'm spitballing now because we're coming up on the hour mark. I've heard nothing but good things except about Dak, because Kellen Moore left, which is going to be I'm going to call it now. It's going to be a detriment to the Cowboys. Adam, your favorite quarterback in the league, Justin Herbert has Kellen Moore as his OC now. I expect the Chargers are going to be pretty fucking awesome this year. Everybody on the Dallas Cowboys team is awesome. The line's good. They don't have Zeke anymore. They're going to stick with Tony Pollard. That defense is unreal. I hate that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be good again. I hate it. I hate it. It's good. It's so good for football when they're good, and I hate that the most. But damn, man, the NFC East is like all right. They're okay.
All depends on which Trayvon you get.
It's true. How well have our running backs been catching the ball in camp? I can tell you DeWayne McBride hasn't been doing well in that category from what I've been listening to. But to be honest, man, I haven't heard shit about the running backs.
Really? Because I've heard DeWayne McBride is out there for like the first time in his career really running wide receiver routes and looking pretty good.
I'll have to look at where you've heard that. I listened today, and it was some of the drops were standing out, which we shouldn't hold that to a couple training camp drops, but hold it over his head. But we'll see. It's definitely a list of what they did last year between Hurts and Burrow. I'm taking Burrow all day long. I think traditionally I would want the pocket passer just because it hasn't been – it's not very often you get like a Cam winning MVP years and years and years in a row. Mm-hmm. The Matt Ryan – like we forget Matt Ryan won a fucking MVP.
So let's take a quick diversion here and talk about these quarterbacks that are going to be running the ball a lot more often, which is not going to be Kirk. The new rule in place is going to change a lot of what these teams can do offensively and possibly cause some problems. You guys do realize that a rule is passed that you can't hand the ball off forward, right? Like you can't hold the ball out in front of you and have your running back grab it, which is going to eliminate a lot of...
You can't do that shuffle pass thing?
Oh, you can pass, but you can't hand it off forward.
I'm just so used to them turning around and extending out backwards, turning their back to the line. So
yeah, like you know how like they'll do that fake forward handoff when the quarterback is going to do an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can't do that anymore.
What was the reasoning for that?
Because fuck running backs.
Damn, poor running backs.
So that is actually going to be a detriment to those mobile quarterbacks and probably help out some of the quarterbacks that are more of pocket passers. So I think this rule in general will be helpful to the Vikings, especially the Vikings defense, since they don't have to deal with as much speed coming off of, the running backs running in front of, or the wide receiver running for a round of, running on the edge. So it'll be interesting to see how that rule change will affect the league this year.
That's a good point, Wes. Talking about Burrow and Hurts earlier. If it wasn't for a penalty, Burrow could have been in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. It's true. Sergio says basically eliminates the read option. Well, that's not good for the old Eagles. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring that up, because that's going to hurt that team a lot. And any team with a real running quarterback is going to be having to change the way they do things.
Justin Fields. My
I do
prophecy
wonder
is going to come true. He's going to be awful.
I do wonder what the league's thought process was on this rule change. I would be
I don't
really curious
understand
to
it.
know.
I don't understand what they're doing with the kickoff. I don't understand what they're doing with that. And here's my this is where my brain goes, guys, because I am the ultimate pessimist. I'm going to put that in my Twitter bio now. Kyle Smith, ultimate pessimist. So you have this new rule change, which you guys correct me if I'm wrong. This is a major change from what we're used to in this particular neighborhood of football on the offensive side. So the referees would need to like study that pretty hard, right? I'm guessing over the summer. I'm guessing over the summer or their time when they do whatever they do in the off season, they're like, okay, this is what we have to adjust. We have to learn. Let's go over things like plays from last year. Now this will be a penalty.
It's less of a new rule and more of an enforcement of an old rule because in the past it was always you had to hand the ball to the running back behind you as a quarterback, and they were just kind of like letting this college style offense into the NFL because I don't know, maybe it was good for excitement or something, but now they're finally going to be following that rule that's been in place forever, and people are acting like it's taking away from the game instead of making the game the way it was kind of supposed to be played.
My point for what I was saying for the refs were, when are we going to get them permanently on so they can study this stuff? Is that still a thing that we're talking about? Because,
but I think what you're going to see is a lot more of like what Patrick Mahomes was doing instead of, because he's not a running quarterback really. He would kind of like toss the football up in the air, and whoever was doing the end around there would grab it, and run with it. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and that could result in a lot more fumbles, which could be interesting and exciting.
Let's go. Fumbles every game. Oh, man.
Well, they do have so many rules that are so heavily skewed in favor of the offense. I do actually, when Adam words it the way he just did, am a little bit in favor of going back through the rule book and being like, hey, this is what we're actually supposed to be doing. Let's make sure that we're not completely giving all of the rules here in favor of quarterbacks, running backs, offense. Like, hey, like let's make sure we're actually enforcing this the way it's supposed to be.
I can appreciate it, man. I see them, moving in a direction. Obviously, they've been doing it for 5 to 10 years to try to get everything better for the offense, but I don't know. There's still a couple of things. Like I don't like them. They're eventually going to eliminate kickoffs, and they're slowly going to that, and that just takes away from historically and aesthetically for the game. That I just don't like that. And that they're going to mask the bullshit changes for safety when they don't give an actual fuck about the safety of these players. They care about not having to pay them when they're hurt later on. Because here's the other point too, and I asked that the other day. You see it on Pat McAfee. What's the deal with wearing those big poofy helmets in camp?
Yeah.
Well, so they don't get injured. Why don't you wear them in a real game?
Because they look stupid. That was AJ Hawk's answer. He's like,
because the poofy stuff is on the inside of the helmet.
So they take it all out and then put it on the outside just for camp.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense to me, but I'm not a scientist.
The way the league is going with the rules and the way they want offense, just wait until they go full arena league and not only can you have a player in motion, but we're gonna let him have like a fucking 10-yard run up before the play. So we're gonna give Justin Jefferson a full 10 yards to run up before we snap the ball and just let shit just go wild in the NFL. Like at some point that's going to happen.
Well, I think that's about it, guys. Get to let you know that tomorrow the Vikings will be playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Don't expect the starters to play. I do expect to see Jordan Addison, Ivan Pace, Brian Asamoah, Mekhi Blackman, Lewis Seen. I expect to see guys like that out there. Expect to see your depth play. You got to remember, Kevin O'Connell is a Sean McVay guy. The The Rams have historically the last 3 years have not played their people in the preseason, and it's leaning towards a lot of the league not doing that too.
Mhm.
Maybe you get one series, one drive to try to knock the rust off, but you don't want these guys getting injured in the preseason. So
And get ready for the most basic, bland, boring, generic defense from
Mhm.
Brian Flores you have
Mhm.
ever seen, because they are not going to let an ounce of what the actual play calling is going to be come week 1 out in this first preseason game.
And if you don't have a way to watch this preseason game tomorrow when it's live, you will be waiting quite a long time to watch it on NFL Network. It does replay twice on Friday, but once is at like 4 a.m. and the next one's at like 1 p.m. So, I mean, if you don't have an opportunity to watch it, then you might have to end up waiting quite a while.
Well, that's certainly frustrating. What else? What was I going to say there? Yeah, they'll be playing tomorrow. I think they play at 9 Eastern time because they're on the West Coast. So it's going to be shitty for guys like myself on the other side of the country, having to work Friday and all that. But I'm going to try to catch most of it. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Next week, we'll review this game. We'll review any transactions, injuries, any updates, contract situations that they happen. But think of it this way.
Is there like does NFL Plus have all the preseason games that you can choose from?
I wouldn't know because I'm boycotting NFL Plus until everybody at that building burns alive inside.
Oh, dang.
They ripped every one of us off with that last year, and I am so irritated. They ripped every single customer off with NFL Plus, and I trashed it on Twitter several times when I figured it out.
And I keep coming back to this as well, too. Not only is it a bad value and a bad service, it is the worst streaming app I think I have ever used. There's no user interface. I mean, it's at the point where, like, I was watching Hard Knocks on NFL Plus. You can't, on the app, on, like, my TV set behind me on Apple TV, you cannot actually go back and, like, look at Season 1, Season 2, Season 3 of Hard Knocks on the app. You can't do that. You can only do that from your browser on your computer. How, NFL, are you so bad?
Sergio, while you're here, before we end, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to wait for your reply. How do you like and the value for Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV? Because I am highly considering that. That was my gripe and complaint about NFL Plus. Every one of these streaming services, everybody just hops on the latest trend. Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, ESPN Plus. I have ESPN Plus, so I get extra perks with it. Plus, I get full access to ESPN. Obviously, I have to buy like pay-per-views for like UFC fights and shit. But when you buy NFL Plus, my guess would be, especially for how much it costs, it was like $100. You're going to have all access to all the games. You don't get any access to games. You get access to what they let you have access to. So that was my biggest gripe with it. But obviously, this is the first year with YouTube having Sunday Ticket. So you haven't gotten to use it yet because the season hasn't started. But what was the value? If you don't care telling us the price on here, let us know. If not, we'll look it up. It's fine. I understand if you don't want to share it. But I'm highly considering it. And I don't purchase, like, I have Wi-Fi at my house. When I move here soon, I'm not going to have, Dish Network or whatever cable network. I'm going to get YouTube TV and use a network to watch stuff because I just don't see how television is still a thing. Like, everybody watches stuff on their device now.
If you are currently a Verizon customer or are switching to Verizon, you should give them a call because as of right now, I believe Verizon customers can be able to get Sunday Ticket at no cost to them. So give them a call.
Here you go. I got it when I had a $100 off special. I'll switch from Sling to YouTube. I'm actually enjoying it, especially with football around the corner. Nice. I'm moving here in about 2 weeks, and I'm going to have to consider that.
I know it's not very honest, but if you call Verizon and be like, I'm considering switching my cell service, but wait, I hear you guys have NFL Sunday Ticket available.
Adam is the most thrifty person I know when it comes to that stuff. In the group chat, remember for the longest time you were going to some fast food chain with coupons and you were like, I got this whole meal for absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah. I still do that.
Oh, it was great.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, not at all.
These major corporations, like, you're going to get me on the old boomer rant today. Like, I'm just going to turn full boomer. Like, these corporations make millions of billions of dollars. One guy coming in and being like, hey, I'd like a discount. And like, sorry, we can't do that. Like, cool, I'll have to give it to somebody else. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's see what we can do. Like,
Right?
fuck them.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Direct TV, Sergio says. I used to do this Charter Communications all the time. Like
Now,
Spectrum
Sergio,
now, right?
I don't remember them. Might have been regional because I don't think we had that here. It's $2.50 at the time. So what all, like, I hate asking this shit. I should just Google it. I'm turning into my mom. But for $2.50, obviously you get like the Sunday ticket, but you get a bunch of stuff with YouTube with that, I'm assuming. I love that I used to do it direct TV. Good for y'all. Hell yeah. That's the way you do it now. You leave a negative Google review, that shit will change super fast. You'll get emails and phone calls real quick. I left one today. I ordered glasses 5 weeks ago. Called today because I'm moving soon. I was like, hey, where are my glasses? They're like, oh, they came in on July 17th. I'm like, that's pretty sweet. Why didn't you call me? Tomorrow's the 10th of August.
Yeah.
Give them a nice Google review after that. We'll see. I'll get a phone call tomorrow. Anyways, we're going into the weeds now. That's the news for the Vikings this week, according to us. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the guys in the chat. If you listen to this later, give us a like and a subscribe. I'm going to put it up on the screen now. We do this stuff for y'all, man. We have fun, and all three of us would talk about the Vikings regardless. But it's fun when you guys interact and ask questions. We say this every year. We're going to have a 53-man chart prediction soon, a depth chart prediction soon. We're going to preview the season, all that stuff, predict our wins and losses. But tomorrow, the first day officially of Vikings football, even if it is the preseason, I am ready to be heard again. Bring it on. I'm going to expect this team to do good things, and we're going to finish 7-10. Let's go, guys.
I am super excited for this game until we hit about the third quarter, and then I'm going to go, holy shit, it's preseason. This is terrible. I hate it.
You're thinking you're going to last till the third quarter until you say that. I'd bet the under on that heavy.
No,
I wonder if when the Vikings have their home preseason game, if we're going to get like that Rick Spielman sideline interview like we did with Queasy last year.
I hope so.
Those are
and
fun.
I hope it's actually with Rick Spielman.
I would say Zimmer, but you wouldn't be caught dead back in that building. So,
well, he is media now. Is he? Still
I know he's on the 33rd team.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really follow them that much.
I like them. Shout out Mike Zimmer. Put it up on here, Adam. Promote the Viking Age. You guys can go and check Adam's work out there. He's a writer for the Viking Age. He does lots of good stuff there.
Just today, I put up a nice little article about the Vikings wearing the Bud Grant patch on their jerseys in week 1 and the Bud Grant sticker on the back of their helmet all season long.
I like it.
We love that. Shout out Bud Grant. Legend, man. They're also going to be wearing those throwbacks on week 1 against Tampa Bay. So,
which is why that patch is even cooler on those jerseys for that reason.
Love that. Forgot about that.
I wonder if you'll be able to buy. Do you think you'll be able to buy a throwback jersey with that patch?
I'm sure they'll be able to figure that out.
Yeah, because remember, you could buy the 50th anniversary patches there for a while too. That season was terrible, and so it completely ruined the fun of that 50th anniversary pass.
What year was that? I can tell you
that
what
was 010. That was 010. That was the second year of Brett Favre
died on the field.
Dude, because you could write a book about how terrible and just bizarre that the 50th anniversary of the Vikings was.
If we told you in 2010 Brett Favre was going to be a Viking and he was going to throw his 500th touchdown as a Viking to Randy Moss, you're thinking, if you had a time machine, you're like, the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl. Holy shit. They finished 6-11? 6-10? They were so fucking bad.
You ever think about how the roof collapsed and then we had a 41, 42-year-old Brett Favre play on a frozen college field?
He died on that field. I'm convinced his soul was out of his body for a good 20
his
seconds.
soul left his body, and Brett Favre died as a Minnesota Viking.
Last touchdown of his career to Percy Harvin. And then I just looked on the screen. I was like, he's not breathing. I was like, he's down. He's not moving. Oh, my God.
And then didn't we sign the defensive player that killed him the following season for some reason? God damn, this franchise, dude.
Oh, man. Fuck, that's funny. Adam Carlson, follow him at MN like Minnesota, MN Viking Zombie on our social media platforms. He is a fun follow.
I try. I don't get a ton of interaction, but I still post.
You got to pump your numbers up, man.
They're rookie numbers.
You can. That's a good reference there. You can find me on Twitter. I'm also over on Blue Sky Social. If you guys are up on that one, that app has been a lot of fun. If you get the invite code, be sure to check that one out.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Twitter alternative. Right now, it's invite only. It was made by some of the former developers of Twitter, and it's really cool because there is like no advertisers on that platform right now. So it's just like,
I'm already interested.
Oh, it's like follow these 30 people that you actually know, and you just discuss shit. It's the way
I
social
already have
media
Threads,
should
and
be.
that seems like a nice Twitter ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Threads, and I haven't posted once. Not once. There's too many of them, man.
Don't need it. Don't like Facebook. Don't like Instagram. Don't need Threads.
Anyways, for our audio listeners, I'm promoting up on our screen right now Kyle West's website, kylewest84.picfair.com, PICFAIR.com. Check his workout. Not only is he a talented photographer, but you can also get Purple People Podcast merch. I'm sure he would love that. His bank account would love that if you show him some love and buy some things there. You guys should definitely do it. If you're looking up on the screen, this is my handle. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on the old TikTok. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is just how I am as a person. If you send me a message on TikTok, I am not going to look at it. Adam.
No, he doesn't.
Adam knows firsthand. I turned off the notifications. I do what I call doom scrolling.
And I sent him lots of really cool music TikToks, and he didn't know.
Well, here's my thing now. This is why I haven't looked at them. There's so many. I'm going to spend 3 hours trying to clear the messages back to zero. Now I'm just scared to open it up. I'm like, if we never worry about it, it's like the check engine light. Like, if we never go get it seen, it'll never be a problem.
Just wipe them out and then start anew.
I'm going to have to at some point. I'm going to do it while I'm at work so I can get paid to do it.
You don't actually have to watch them. Just start over, and then you can
No,
start
that's
watching.
the thing. I want to watch them, but now there's so many. It would legitimately take hours to get through them. I turned off my notifications so I don't.
Yeah, because I send you music, dogs, and Viking stuff. That's what I send you.
I'm going to look at it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to work on myself for everyone. But thank you, everybody. That's all I got. Adam, take us away, sir.
Thanks again to everyone who's stopped on in and interacted with us in chat. You guys are the best. Also, thanks to everyone who checks us out wherever they listen to podcasts, because we are on a lot of podcast sources. And although we ain't the Shipyard Cat, we do all right. We do our best. On behalf of both Kyles and myself, thanks again for listening. And remember to stay classy, Minnesota.